Have you ever had a sudden feeling come over you that something is wrong that moment when you get cold chills and the hair stands upon the back of your neck? Tonight was one of those nights for me. My name is Bill Jackson. I'm 46 years old, 5'11", 175 pounds. I am the plant manager at a major beer brewing company in Fort Worth, Texas. No, not. Peter Griffin from The Family Guy. My wife is Janice, or Jan. She is 46, also 5'6", 130 pounds, and well-stacked, nice, large breast and flaring hips with a tight ass, especially in the dress she is wearing tonight. Jan works for a large advertising firm in Fort Worth. She is in the design and graphics department. Janice and I have been married for 25 years as kids. We lived on the same block since the 4th grade. We were best friends through middle school and were a couple through high school. Jan was even my date at the prom. That's the night we became a lot closer. We gave each other our virginity at night. Jan and I attended the University of Texas together for 3 years. The last 2 years we shared a one-bedroom apartment. I guess you can say we live together. We have a daughter, Judy. She is 21 years old and going to the University of Oklahoma. The traitor, LOL. Judy is also engaged to Brad Johnson, a very nice young man from Oklahoma City. Brad is from oil money. His dad is a big wig in a major oil company in Norman, Oklahoma. Brad also is 26 years old, so he is a little more mature and head over heels in love with our daughter. We are very happy for both of them. My future son-in-law is studying business law. Judy was studying any class they put her in, no major, just going to school. She was a cheerleader and spending my money, LOL. Jen makes about $55K per year at her job, and as a manager for the High Life Brewing Company, I brought home over 300 grand. So we were financially sound. About 15 years ago, we found a house on Lake Arlington that was in foreclosure. We made an offer on it for $350,000 cash and bought it, fixed it up, and at this time it is valued at $2-3 million. Now, I guess I should get back to the night that got my skin crawling and my mind to wondering. Jen let me know 3 days ago that her company was having a party this coming Saturday night. And after telling me about, she told me, Bill, I know you don't like going to these things, and you would probably be too tired, so you don't have to go if you don't want to. No. Jan, I am off the next few days and would love to go for 3 days. Jen kept on telling me I didn't have to attend, but I kept saying I'm excited about going and meeting her coworkers at the party. My wife was wearing a beautiful but tight black dress that made her long blonde hair shine with those blue eyes. As soon as we entered into the main room, a man about 50-ish was walking towards. And when I noticed her put her hand out away from her body like it was a stop motion, then she turned toward me and kissed me on the cheek. That was the first of my bad feelings. That night, Jan and I had a few drinks. I was going to stay sober because I was driving, and also I wanted to be aware of everything going on tonight. I have never had suspicions of my wife cheating before and didn't think she was tonight. All my bad feelings came from this guy later, finding out from someone sitting at our table. His name is Jack Taylor. Jack Taylor was one of the senior advertising sales reps for my wife's company. Jan and I danced several dances. I caught her a few times looking over in Jack's direction, and he was staring back at us after sitting down from one dance session. Jack came over and asked Jen if she would like to dance. He never looked at me or even asked, "May I dance with your wife?" He asked her directly, "The arrogant son of a..." ___. Jin seen how red my face was getting and my fist balled up, so she politely declined and told him all her dances were for her husband. I could tell he was pissed as he walked away and started dancing with some other woman. JY was ready for another drink, so I went to the bar to get her one on my way back. I saw Jack in front of Jan asking her something. She was looking at him with sad eyes and shook her head no. Then I seen the movement of her lips. I could read her lips. She said, "Sorry, baby, I am pretty good at reading lips here in our plan. It is very noisy in some parts, and we wear hearing protection." So I know what she said. The rest of the night I watched and didn't drink anything else. I wanted to have control of all my senses. I paid a lot of attention to everyone around us. They were all watching me, watching Jan, and yes, watching Jack. I knew then something was going on, but what and how long had it been going on? I'm not very good about keeping things inside, so on the way home I asked Jen about Jack. Jen, who is this Jack guy? The two of you seem to have a connection. Are you cheating on me? Jack is just someone I work with, honey, and I can't believe you would ever think I would cheat on you. I love you more than anything. I didn't say anything else that night. Jen knew me very well. If I caught her cheating, There would be hell to pay when we were growing up. She was aware of how I always got revenge, and she always was. On my side and backed me up when I needed her. Once in high school, a guy gave me a wedget. I caught him later after school and beat the crap out of him and took his pants off and left him there taking his pants with me. Jen backed me up at school, telling them I was with her and couldn't have done it once at the University of Texas. One of the football players was trying to force Jen to kiss him, and I kicked his knees out from under him, causing him to miss a few games. The coaches were wanting me kicked out until Jen told them she was going to the police and press attempted rape charges. They let it go real fast. So JY knows I wouldn't just sit there and be cockled it. Or she should have, like I said earlier. Jen makes better than 50 grand, and I make more than 300 grand. Plus, Jen has over 125,000 in her 401k, and I have over 1 million in mine. So I decided I need to know for sure. I hired a private detective that we had used before at my brewery on a few workers' comp cases, and to make a long story short, either had audio, video, and photos I needed. So a few weeks later, we were sitting at our dining room table one morning drinking coffee when I asked Jan, "So you would never cheat on me, would you, or never have before?" "Right, Jan? No, honey, I never would. Why would you ask me that, Bill?" I took the large envelope and started throwing pictures down on the table one at a time. "Well, Jan, in this picture, you were kissing Jack outside Motel 6. This one, you were going inside the door. This one is his car parked in front of our house. This one is you sucking his dick while he sits in my recliner. This one is him, __. You in our bed, Bill, it doesn't mean anything. I don't love it. It's just sex. It means everything to me. Is he better than me? Jan, is he bigger than me? How long has this been going on, and why? No, he is not bigger, and not even as big, Bill. And as far as better, I can't say he is. It's just different as all. And we have been doing it for over a year. You have had a boyfriend for over a year, Bill, at work. We don't call it boyfriend. I am his office wife. Several people at work do it. What, you're not going to leave, are you? Bill, hell no. __. I am not leaving you. You are. I have packed most of your clothes and personal belongings in your BMW. I want you out of my house now. __. I grabbed Jen by her arm and escorted her to her car. Where will I go, Bill? I don't care where you go. __. Go, __. With your office husband. I can't go to him. Jack is married with 3 kids. I had already known this. It was in the Pies report, his wife's name and kids as well as address. But I didn't let Jan know that I had that info. Jan, I don't care where you go. Head on back to Motel 6 and be sure let your __. Buddy, no, but get the __. Away from here and stay away, Bill. Are you just going to throw away 25 years of a good marriage, Jan? It was less than 24 years of a good marriage and over 1 year of a cheating marriage, and you are the one that threw it away. __. Crying, Jan got in her car and drove away. 3 hours later, the phone rings. It's my loving daughter. Hello, Judy. How's all the wedding plans going? They were doing all the planning, but I was covering the expenses, and she was having a large wedding, but it is my only daughter. And I do love her very much. Then the conversation went all to hell. Dad, Mom says you kicked her out of the house. Why the __? Would you do something like that? Well, Judy, your mom should be the one to tell you this, but I caught her cheating on me. Oh, grow up, Dad. This is the 21st century. That happens all the time. It's not that bad when a woman goes out and gets her. Some men used to do it all the time. I never have, and I won't put up with it either. So are you doing that to Brad, Dad? That's not of your business. And Brad and I aren't married yet, so what I do is not his concern. Okay, who else does this crap that I know? And Betty does, Dad. So what? My family, the 3-horse, Dad, get over it and let my mom come back home. Besides, it's not that big a deal. And Dad, I have met Jack. He is a wonderful man. Mom wants him involved in the wedding, and so do I. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. Are these __? Stupid? Did they fry their brains on drugs or something? Well, Judy, if you want him in your wedding, let him walk you down the aisle, because if he is there, IWB, then I hung the phone up. My phone rang several times throughout the night, but I refused to answer it. 2 days later. JY showed up at the house with a piece of paper. It was a court order. Her office husband did have a great lawyer, and she was granted a temporary order to be let back into the house until everything was resolved. She also wanted to talk about her affair, the stupid __. Felt like it was not affecting our marriage. She was affectionate to me when I asked for it, and would continue be that way to me, and she seen no reason to stop with Jack. __. You know, I will never put up with a cheating __. For a wife, and as far as wanting to be affectionate with you, I will never touch you again. __. You can have the master bedroom since that's where you him. I have been sleeping in one of the spares since I found out how big of a my wife was, but I am not a Jan, I don't care what you say, it doesn't matter anymore. I will file for divorce this week and get rid of your skanky-ass bill. I don't want a divorce, and besides, Jack and I have talked to his lawyer, and if you divorce me, I get the house and half of all our assets, then you make more than I do, so I would get a big chunk of your check for alimony, so my dear husband, you might as well sit back and enjoy the ride, as Jack says, you and Jack, I got up and went into my bedroom about midnight. Jen knocked on my door crying, saying she was sorry and she wanted it to work out for us, but she wanted Jack. Also, the next morning I went to see one of our company lawyers. He pretty much said it would go as Jan had said she would get the house and half of everything. Judy was out of the house, so there would be no child support, and yes, she would get at least $125,000 of your alimony. Bill, he said you are... If you divorced her. Sorry. My friend the next few days was calmer. We never spoke to each other, but the third day, Jen asked me, "Are you still foolish enough to try for a divorce? My lawyer is looking at it as we speak, You, Bill, I will take everything you have. I didn't say anything else. Just drank my high life. About an hour later, Jan had been talking on the phone in the dining room, and she brought me the phone. Someone needs to speak to you, Bill. Hello, Bill, this is Jack. Hey, man, I know you are pissed, but you just need to go along with it, cucky boy. We will take everything and make your life miserable if you don't prick. You don't know who you... With you can have the... I don't want her anymore. She is damaged goods, so go... Yourself and your... Then I slammed the phone down. I looked at Jan and couldn't believe how stupid her and... were. I had caught them by putting a private detective on them. I had video and audio. I had pictures speaking about the audio. If they were so smart, wouldn't they know the conversations in this house and on this phones were still being recorded? Stupid people. The next week, Jin met with her office husband 4 times. It was at Motel 6 and not here. I did tell her if she... him here again, I would kill them both. I think she finally believed me. The brewery that I worked for had been purchased last year by a larger brewery from Colorado, the Rocky Mountain. Yes, we were running both products out of our plant here in Fort Worth. We were using 2 managers myself on my product, and the other product was being ran by James. James was the plant manager from Colorado. He was much younger and a very bright person. I liked him a lot. James had went through a divorce before he came here, so he knew what I was going through. Our company had been wanting to downsize and have just 1 manager. The good thing that was on my side was we are unionized. They wanted the younger guy, and James was from the purchasing company. They had been trying to buy me out. The latest offer was $500,000 and turning my retirement from the previous company over into stocks. What better stocks to have in this depressing world? Beer stocks. LOL. James and I went to a local strip club close to the plant. James came here often, seeing he was divorced and had nothing much to do every night. That's when everything came to me. It was in our chat my life got better. Bill, I know what you were going through. That blood-sucking ex of mine got everything. I wish I had just sold off everything or gave it away and just ran off and never got a divorce. James, my friend, you are the smartest man I know. I downed my beer and shook his hand. Thank you, my friend. Then I walked out of the door and drove home. Luckily, Jan wasn't home. Guess she was out getting her office stick tonight. JY didn't come home all night, and I realized how little I missed her at one time. I loved JY more than anything in this world. Now I hated the cun. My plan was going into effect soon. Today was Sunday, and I was at home watching football when my daughter called. Dad, are you getting over your mad spell? What do you want, Judy? I'm calling because Mom wanted me to talk to you about the wedding. Okay, what is up, daughter? Mom, and I think Jack should be in the wedding also. Maybe he could walk up the AIS behind you and me, then sit when he gets to Mom. Judy, is that really what you want? Yes, Daddy, I think I do, and I know Mom does. You are my father and Mom's husband, but Jack is her office husband. So we think you should be in the wedding. Judy, I have a better idea. Let your office dad walk you down the aisle because IWB there. I will call Brad and give him my apologies. Dad, don't be silly. Brad doesn't like this either, but he will get over it on our wedding night. Judy, I wish you a good life, sweetie. Bye. What does that mean? Dad? I never answered her, just hung up and cried. Jan came home Sunday night and asked, "Did you miss me, honey?" Underscore, underscore. I will never miss you. Go somewhere and die. Jin ran off to her room crying. Monday morning, I was in the corporate office at 8 a.m. I took the buyout, $500,000 put into an offshore account, and won your salary. Our house was paid for, and so was our autos. So the next stop was at the bank. I had papers drawn up to borrow money on our house in Jan's BMW. The house was worth $2.3 million. So I borrowed $2 million easily. Jan's car was worth $45,000, so I easily got $35,000, all I wanted to do. There was give her a little debt. I had to get her to sign the papers. That was going to be the tricky part. I went back to my job. I had to finish out the next 2 weeks for an easy transition for James. I didn't mind that he was a fantastic person. That afternoon, I called the wedding planner. I canceled my card so they wouldn't pay the bills coming in. I told her I would no longer be responsible for the wedding cost. Then, who will pay for the wedding? Mr. Jackson tell Judy to ask her new dad, Jack, for the money at my office. I had drawn up some fake insurance policy applications for $1 million of life insurance for me that even I called Jan. She was surprised that I had called her Jan. If you were not going to be with Jack tonight, can we have a nice dinner? Oh, that would be great. I am so happy you were getting over this. Where do you want to go? The Italian Inn downtown under the lights. Is that okay? That sounds so romantic, darling. Maybe you will get lucky tonight, Bill. I hope to get luckier than... You know, tonight, Jan, we had dinner, and during dinner, Jen tried to kiss me, but I just said later I told her about the insurance policy for a cool meal. Millie and I lied to her and said the company was wanting me to take it out, and she would be the beneficiary. Jan isn't your sister Betty, a notary. Yes, Bill, she is. We have to sign them in front of a notary. Latoon, go over to her house and sign them tonight. Then we can celebrate. Okay. Bill, let's go. I paid the dinner tab, then we went to her sister's house and she signed and initialed all the pages. She was so happy we were together. And with the 6 glasses of wine, she never looked at what she was signing again. As I said earlier, what a stupid ... The next day, I rushed the papers to the mortgage company and the bank gave me the 35 grand. Instantly, the $2 million would take at least a week. I was having it moved to the account offshore. 1 week later, I was finished at the brewery. I stopped off at the Ford dealer and traded my truck in on a new F350 Ford truck. I paid cash, of course, next stop to the bank. Closed all our credit cards, emptied all our saving out, took all the money from our checking accounts out, but $11,000, and had a friend of mine move all my offshore money to different accounts to hide any trace or records. The next 2 items on my agenda were harder for me. I hated the fact that innocent people were going to get hurt. I met with my future son-in-law, told him what was going on, how I cut off the money, and how I felt my daughter would ... him around. Then I gave him the audio of my conversations with Judy. Brad was devastated. My next stop was to the residence of one Jack Taylor. A beautiful lady about 50 answered the door. It made me wonder how a man could cheat on someone as classy as this lady, like I said earlier. Stupid people, I gave Miss Taylor the videos, pictures, and audio. She was crying, but before I left, she told me this wasn't his first time, but it would be his last time on her. It seems she is. One of the major stockholders of Beckham Advertising Agency. Hope that doesn't affect a couple of people's jobs. That I know how will Jan make her $700 a month car payment, or her $112,000 a month mortgage, LOL. Maybe her office husband will help her pay them. You think now I am on my way to the RV dealership. They should have my 36T long, 5th wheel travel trailer. Ready, my plan is going as well as I had planned. I paid cash for the truck and the RV. I had them put in my cousin's name. I have only 3 credit cards also in his name. I plan on heading out to Florida for a few years and laying low, and maybe I will get lucky and my wife will file for divorce for abandonment. I hope she does this soon with the no-compete clause in my contract. I can't work for another brewery for a year, and the king of breweries is not far from where I will be staying in the RV in Florida 1 year. And 3 months later, a lot of things have changed. Jack is divorced, and he was correct. The woman does get everything. His wife got the house since 60% of everything, plus $60,000 a year alimony. Jack lost his job, but he did get a nice job working in one of the last Blockbuster video stores left open. He's a tape rewinder and DVD cleaner, and he has a nice 1-room apartment above the local adult store. Jan, well, she had a tough time making payments on the house and her car. She never knew about the payments on the house. She was sure we always paid cash. She lost both. And with bad credit. Can't get an apartment worth having. Jen also lost her job, but did find another job. She is a waitress at Denny's on the interstate. She did file for abandonment. She needed the divorce to get her welfare started. She got nothing from me like she thought she would. Seems they couldn't find me, and she had to get her welfare assistance fast, so she just got a quick, clean divorce. My loving daughter, she didn't get married. Brad confronted her about the audio tapes, and she said she didn't think it was all that bad if the wife got her some on the side, same old story she told me. Brad called off the wedding. Judy lost her millionaire family, she lost her dad, and now lives in a 2-bedroom apartment on the wrong side of town. She shares it with her loving mother. From what I hear, my wife and daughter are dating well. If you can call all the black men stopping by every night laying their $20 down is dating, then I guess they are dating pretty heavy. I am having a ball in southern Florida. All the bikinis here, the great weather, and a fantastic job working with the King of Bruce.
In the aftermath of the Nemesis crisis, the galaxy found itself on the precipice of a new era. The collective victory against a seemingly insurmountable foe served as a powerful catalyst for change, ushering in what would come to be known as the Age of Enlightenment. This chapter explores the profound transformations that occurred as civilizations across the galaxy sought to build upon the unity and cooperation that had saved them from the brink of destruction. The Harmony Web, initially conceived as a means to combat the Nemesis, evolved into a permanent fixture of galactic society. Its network of interconnected minds and souls facilitated not only defense against existential threats, but also unprecedented levels of communication and understanding between diverse species. The web became a conduit for sharing knowledge, culture, and technology, accelerating the pace of innovation and discovery in ways previously unimaginable. Under the stewardship of Ambassador Marquez and the guidance of the Aeonians, the Galactic Assembly embarked on ambitious projects aimed at addressing long-standing issues and unlocking the potential of every world within the Assembly's reach. One of the first initiatives was the Universal Education Program, a galaxy-wide effort to provide access to knowledge and learning resources for every being, regardless of their planet of origin. This program leveraged the Harmony Web's capabilities to tailor educational content to the needs and abilities of different species, fostering a generation of learners who were not only more informed, but more empathetic towards the diverse forms of life with whom they shared the galaxy. Another landmark achievement of this era was the Intergalactic Infrastructure Initiative, 3, which focused on developing sustainable and resilient systems of transportation, energy, and communication. The 3 saw the construction of interstellar highways that connected even the most remote corners of the galaxy, the deployment of clean energy technologies that harnessed the power of stars, and the establishment of a galactic communications network that ensured no voice, no matter how distant, went unheard. The Age of Enlightenment also witnessed significant advancements in the fields of medicine and environmental science. The Galactic Health Coalition was formed, combining the medical knowledge and expertise of hundreds of species to combat diseases and improve the health and well-being of all galactic citizens. Simultaneously, the Environmental Restoration Corps worked tirelessly to repair the damage inflicted on countless ecosystems by centuries of neglect and exploitation, restoring planets to their natural splendor and ensuring they could sustain life for eons to come. However, the most profound change of this era was perhaps in the realm of philosophy and spirituality. The shared experience of the Harmony Web led to a renaissance of thought regarding the nature of consciousness, the interconnectedness of all beings, and the purpose of existence itself. New philosophies emerged, blending the wisdom of ancient traditions with the insights gained from the web, promoting values of compassion, stewardship, and unity. As the Age of Enlightenment progressed, the galaxy became a more vibrant and harmonious place. The barriers that had once divided species and worlds were eroded by the tides of cooperation and mutual understanding. The challenges of the past, though not forgotten, were seen as stepping stones to a brighter future, one where the potential of every individual and civilization could be fully realized. As the Age of Enlightenment flourished, the galaxy stood as a beacon of hope and unity, a testament to what could be achieved when diverse beings come together for a common purpose. The final chapter in this saga reflects on the legacy of this remarkable era and the indelible marks it left on the fabric of the cosmos. In the centuries that followed, the principles established during the Age of Enlightenment guided the galaxy through times of peace and conflict, prosperity and adversity. The Harmony Web, once a novel invention, became an integral part of galactic society, a symbol of the interconnectedness that was now the foundation of interstellar relations. It had evolved beyond its initial purpose, becoming a living archive of galactic history and culture, a network where the thoughts and dreams of countless generations mingled in a tapestry of shared consciousness. Ambassador Marquez, whose leadership and vision had been instrumental in ushering in this era of unprecedented cooperation, became a figure of legend. Her legacy was not just in the diplomatic victories or the initiative she championed, but in the spirit of empathy and understanding she embodied. Statues and memorials were erected in her honor on worlds across the galaxy, but her true monument was the peace and prosperity that her efforts had helped to secure. The Galactic Assembly, too, underwent a transformation, expanding its mandate to include not only the governance of political and economic affairs, but also the stewardship of the galaxy's collective heritage. It became a forum where the voices of all beings could be heard, a place where decisions were made not by the few but by the many, in the spirit of the democratic ideals that had been the hallmark of the Age of Enlightenment. As the galaxy looked outward, exploring the unknown reaches beyond the outer veil and making contact with civilizations beyond their wildest imaginations, the principles of the Harmony Protocol and the lessons learned from the Age of Enlightenment guided their approach. New members were welcomed into the galactic community with open arms, their unique cultures and perspectives enriching the mosaic of galactic life. Yet the legacy of this era was not without its challenges. The Harmony Web, for all its benefits, also raised questions about privacy and individuality, about the balance between unity and diversity. The galaxy grappled with these issues, engaging in spirited debates that tested the limits of their ideals but ultimately strengthened the bonds that held them together. In the end, the Age of Enlightenment was remembered not just for its achievements, but for the journey it represented, a journey from division to unity, from conflict to peace, from isolation to a shared destiny among the stars. It was a reminder that the greatest challenges could be overcome through cooperation and understanding, and that the diversity of the galaxy was its greatest strength. As the saga comes to a close, the galaxy stands on the cusp of a new frontier, ready to face the future with hope and courage. The legacy of the Age of Enlightenment, with its emphasis on unity, empathy, and exploration, continues to guide its path, illuminating the way forward like the stars that shine in the endless expanse of the cosmos. The story of humanity's ascent and the transformation of the galaxy is a testament to the indomitable spirit of all beings who dare to dream of a better tomorrow. It is a legacy of stars, a beacon of light that will continue to inspire generations long after the last page of this saga is turned, reminding all who look upon the night sky that they are part of a grand interconnected cosmos, a cosmos that thrives not in spite of its diversity, but because of it.
Her side, I remembered our wedding and how he'd been scowling at me the entire time now. However, he was beaming with pride that his darling little girl was finally marrying someone of her own station. I wanted to punch the shithead in the face, but refrained. All would be paid in full at the reception, so it went, I won't bore you with the mundane details of the wedding vow that she didn't take seriously the first time around, or the exchanging of rings that she on with her affair with or anything else for that matter. Then I want to Best Actor Oscar, Emmy, Tony, and Golden Globe all at once when I congratulated to both of them as we got to the reception. Kat would have won for Best Actress since she had taken Maggie's betrayal of me as a betrayal of everyone who worked for me and had loved her like a sister. Reggie rubbed it in my face with another Angus old boy. I hope there really are no hard feelings. The better man went out in the end. It took every bit of self-control I had not to pound him into the ground wreck, his testicles, elbows, knees, and make his plastic surgeon a very rich man with a full face workup. Instead, I said, you're right. Right, the better man did win, after which I grabbed a mildly surprised Cat and kissed her with everything I had. Cat froze for an instant, then returned my kiss with enthusiasm right there in front of Reggie and Maggie. I claimed Cat with my lips and tongue. That first kiss was amazing. Everything around us disappeared for a moment as our tongues dueled, then danced slowly, and her arms came up around my neck as her fingers ran through my hair as we broke. The kiss, Cat looked at Reggie and Maggie. Yeah, the best man really did win. She winked and left the happy couple standing there with their mouths hanging open. We shared a grin as we took our assigned places, and we had some lobster for dinner. It was actually damn good. Then it was time for the real entertainment as the wedding cake was wheeled out. Reggie and Maggie did the ceremonial cutting of the cake and the ceremonial cake in face for both of them. Everyone laughed and people went up to get a piece of cake for themselves. We decided to wait for the end of the line since it was going to be one hell of a show, sure enough. As soon as we got to the cake itself, all hell started breaking loose. It started with a fart from the bride of all people. Not just a soft poot. Nay, the ripper could be heard from across the dining hall. It was followed by a resounding ripper from the groom himself. I glanced in their direction and said, "You excused," in a loud voice which caused some chuckles from the snobbish elite around me. Oh, they weren't going to be spared, however. Then Maggie got a surprised look on her face as a gurgling sound escaped from her, followed quickly by an expression of pure horror. Reginald's face scrunched up as he smelled something foul, then let loose with his own gurgling sound from his ass. They looked at each other in horror as more farts and gurgles were heard from the rest of the guests. Maggie and Reggie Boy were up and running as quickly as they could, and I could see brown fluid dripping on the floor from beneath her dress, followed by Reggie trying to hide the spreading brown stain on the back of his dress-white pants. Both were making a mad dash for the restrooms and were soon followed by more guests, as they realized that they had just themselves Cat. And I left quickly and quietly and were sitting in Bullet when we couldn't hold our laughter anymore. We both had tears streaming down our faces as we damn near busted our guts laughing so hard, oh my God. Mac Cat laughed, then held her stomach as she G-fought. I was laughing just as hard as she was. Do you think I used too much? I said between tear-filled bouts of laughter. How fast does that work? She laughed again. Well, the boxes at Costco said it worked well, but not to use too much of it. I snickered as our laughter finally died down a bit. How many boxes did you pour into the cake mix? She asked incredulously. All of them. I smiled serenely, causing Cat to just about die laughing again. I'd used a powdered chocolate-flavored laxative and poured it into the boxes of cake mix that the caterers had set aside for the Pennington wedding. The cake and cupcakes were almost pure laxative since I dumped out most of the cake mix boxes and replaced them with the powder laxative. I'd also poured some in with the regular cake mix so that it wouldn't be too strong, but damn, I didn't expect it to work that fast. That was just the icing on the cake the night I'd gone to the caterer. It was ostensibly to work out a contract with him for the chocolate my factory made. He contacted me a few months prior, and I'd promised to get back to him. I told him that we'd been a little backlogged due to several of my team members getting sick, but once we were back up and running, I was able to take some samples to him. He had a greedy look in his eyes as he thought I was going to give him what he wanted when he'd given me a tour of the place. He showed me the kitchen and had even pointed out that they were catering the Pennington wedding. I'd already known, of course, but he didn't know that the bride was my cheating, gold-digging ex-wife. I played nice then. As soon as he told his people to knock off for the day, he went back to his office after shaking my hand. He said he would get the paperwork drawn up for the contract and would let me and Tim know when it was finished. However, I think he must have forgotten all about that contract in the days that followed the wedding itself. As soon as everyone was gone, and I left his office, I made for the back door to the kitchen, propped it open, then drove my car around. I switched out the powdered cake mix for the powdered chocolate laxative, and left. I made sure the door to the kitchen latched and made sure that I didn't leave any boxes that I brought with me behind. One thing Captain Drake had taught us back when I was in was to never leave a trace behind, heck. A good guy. Last I heard, he'd resigned his commission and was now a history professor at UCLA by the day of the wedding. All the evidence was gone. Nothing could tie me to the super LAX cake, only Cat. And I knew of the plan, and she wasn't talking when Cat and I made it back to our place. She looked at me seriously. Mac, that kiss earlier, she started, Cat. I know I was out of line, but you look so beautiful, and I couldn't help myself. I blurted. She put a finger to my lips. Let me finish, baby. She said that kiss earlier was the best damn kiss I've ever had. You're a good man and damn fine for a white boy. What I'm trying to say is that I think we could be good together. She was blushing somewhat, and I leaned in and kissed her slowly. Our lips touched and hers parted to accept my tongue in her mouth. We kissed lovingly and tenderly, and I couldn't help but feel that I had been missing out on something so good for so long. As our lips finally parted, we looked into each other's eyes. I think we'd be good together, too. Only one way to find out. I smiled, and she smiled back. Once inside, we kissed slowly again. I slipped the straps of her dress off her shoulders as I kissed her. We made love. It was amazing. Now some may ask why I set up the caterer the way I did. The problem was that the owner had made a pass at Kat when she'd first gone over there to negotiate with him, back when he'd first shown interest in doing business with us. After slapping S upside the head when he got too fresh, she came back and said that we shouldn't do business with him. What changed was when they were announced as the caterers for the Pennington wedding, and I saw the opportunity to kill two birds with one stone. So to speak, the fallout from the Brown wedding, as the press put it, was instantaneous. The news channels and newspapers ran it the next day, and there were great shots and video of the bridegroom and guest running for the toilets off the dining hall. I had all the guys and girls from the shop over at Kat's house with us to watch the festivities. None of the scenes there showed us, but everyone knew we'd been there. We all laughed so hard we cried as the snobbish elite ran for the toilets as if their asses were exploding. Needless to say, a lot of upper-crusty snobs were thoroughly embarrassed by the shots of them, struggling to keep the brown stuff from stinking up the place too badly. The only people I felt sorry for were the janitors who had to clean all that mess up afterwards, of course. About a week after the wedding fiasco, the cops came around asking questions. Kat and I had attended the wedding, but we both said that we left when the storm happened, as we were worried about our own health. We kept straight faces during our interviews and only died laughing after the detectives had left. We never heard from them again. Reggie Boy sued the caterer, but the caterer skipped the country rather than pay the settlement. Last we heard, he lit out for Italy, where he was from. Not sure what happened to him after that. Reginald Pennington Iveth was caught in bed with another man's wife less than a year after the wedding, who caught him her husband, and he was not very nice to Reggie Boy. He called Maggie up, and she'd had a few choice things to say to Reggie. When she'd gotten to the offended hubby's house, Maggie was on the doorstep of our new house shortly after that. At least Reginald ended up losing a testicle in the ensuing melee. It seemed that while she'd had no problem cheating herself, she absolutely wouldn't stand for her hubby cheating on her. Kind of a double standard, wouldn't you agree? Yes, Kat and I moved into a larger place since her little two-bedroom just wasn't quite big enough. A four-bedroom ranch style was our new A8, and I had it halfway paid off by the end of the first year. It seemed that Reggie Boy had made Maggie sign a prenup saying that if she filed for divorce for any reason, she walked away with nothing but what she had brought into the marriage. She still had her $125K a year job. But that was it. No billions for Maggie Sullivan. It was late the following year when we heard a knock on the door. Kat was 4 months pregnant, so I gave her a quick kiss and jumped up to grab the door myself. I answered the door to a crying Maggie. "What do you want, Maggie?" I asked in a neutral tone. "I'm sorry, Mac. So sorry for everything," she sobbed. "Hey, you were the one who wanted to trade up." I shrugged. "What happened?" "I caught Reginald cheating on me," she admitted as she sobbed even harder. "Wow, tough break," I said sarcastically. "Mac, I'm really sorry. I was wondering if there might be any chance she cut herself off as she saw a pregnant Kat walk up from behind me, baby." "Who is it?" I heard Kat ask as she came alongside me. She smiled at Maggie. "It's Maggie, and she was just leaving," I said as I slammed the door in my ex's face. I threw the deadbolt and took Kat in my arms. "Check the past. You're my future. I love you, sweetheart. I love you too, baby," she said as she kissed me, Kat, and I had AOP shortly after we found out she was pregnant. A small civil ceremony which was her idea, and we were husband and wife. She's still my manager at the shop, and she's still one of my best friends. I love my wife.